going back to the original roots that we started this channel. I know we get away and do all this other stuff, but this is what we started it on, and we always want to try to go back to it. And today's a big one. We're going to do a top 10, and it's going to be none other than Mr. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, man.
One of my favorite actors.
You know, a guy whose career almost took a real bad stumble.
I think some of that was by design. I think he kind of chose that. Yeah, maybe some of it wasn't by design, but but hey, he's back on it and doing great.
Yeah.
And we're going to do 10 because there was no way I could do 5. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, I can kick it off.
Go ahead.
I got a couple shout outs, but I'll wait a little bit.
Sure. Do them at the end.
But I'm going to start with Pacific Heights.
Pacific Heights. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Matthew
How did I not
Modine.
make my list?
Was it Matthew Modine?
Melanie Griffith.
Melanie Griffith.
Yeah. And Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
plays a real sleazeball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah, it's basically every landlord's nightmare. A tenant who moves in and refuses to leave.
Pretty much, yeah. And his whole ambition is to bring you down, basically.
The whole motivation is just...
Yeah, it's insane. By the way, it is on my list, so...
Okay, all right.
I do want to give a shout out, and I've only seen it once, and I haven't seen it all the way through. That's why it's not on my list. Night Shift.
Night Shift.
I've seen a good chunk of it, and I love it. But since I haven't seen it A to Z, I can't put it on the list yet.
Yeah, Night Shift was good.
I've only seen probably 75% of it.
Yeah.
So I really need to watch it, but that's why it's not on my list. So sorry, probably gonna get beat up by Daniel. But number 10 for me is The Dream Team.
Oh, The Dream Team.
Which you had me watch.
Yeah.
Yes. And I did like it. I liked it a lot. Great cast. It was funny, light-witted. I liked it.
I see. The Dream Team was one of those films I saw as a kid, and I remember growing up on it, loving the film. Was probably, and I didn't think about it. I think I knew as a kid, I knew it was Michael Keaton. But maybe as a kid, I didn't say, oh, that's Batman.
No, I think it came out either right before Batman. I think it was 88.
Yes, 88,
Batman was 89.
Yeah,
I loved it. Christopher Lloyd's in it.
You
can't ever go wrong with Christopher Lloyd and Peter Boyle.
You know, Get Up and Walk, my son, and the guy gets up and falls down.
There you go. I loved it.
Yeah. I'm in Freeze. I'm a New York City police officer. I'm an escaped mental patient. I don't care.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But
that was my number 10.
Okay, so my number 9 will be Gung Ho.
Gung Ho. It's on my list. A lot higher. I love Gung Ho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only seen it a couple times, but I love that film.
One of the best lines is like, there is no prize for second place. I'm coming to get the guys and we're coming for you. And he just drops the phone and he's trying to get everything together and they come up like, they screwed you, right? Yeah, the sons of guns. He thought they were coming to lynch you. I love Gung Ho, and I'll go into it more when I get
and it's I guess it's timely. It's because it's about basically a guy losing his job because a big corporation buyout or something like that.
Pretty much.
But
Ron Howard directed it.
Did he now?
Yeah.
That much I did not know.
There you go.
Was Clint Howard in it?
Yes, sir.
Gosh, I got to watch that film again. I can't believe I put it on my list. I don't know what the hell's going on.
There you go.
Yeah.
My number 9 was your number 10, Pacific Heights.
Pacific Heights, yeah.
I remember watching that when I was a kid, and I was like, man, what, Batman's a jerk, because I had seen Batman first. I like Matthew Modine. I think I'm a big fan of his, and just to see him in something, and it's good. I know it flew way under the radar, but I enjoyed it. Well, that is one you got to see. Yeah,
that classic scene where it was Melanie Griffith's going into the garage and he flips the car lights on.
Yeah.
Just staring down at her.
Oh,
He's creepy, man.
It is definitely creepy.
So that's your number 9. That's your number 9. So I'm going to go with my number 8. And before I do, I did want to give a shout out to, you mentioned Night Shift. I'm going to mention one called Johnny Dangerously.
See, I haven't seen that one. I really want to see it.
Yeah, it's a parody on the gangster films of the 30s.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's cheesy, but it's funny.
It's got Michael Keaton.
You can't. So my number 8 though is going to be The Dream Team.
There you go.
Yeah. And again, that takes place, if I'm not mistaken, take place in Chicago.
Chicago or New York? One of the two.
Oh yeah, because they're going to a baseball game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand, and I love it. You have mental patients run around New York.
Heck yeah, or Chicago.
Or Chicago.
Either one, it doesn't matter.
It's great, man. It's funny. It's a little known Michael Keaton movie.
Yeah, there you go. My number 8 is a couple here in a row that have been some of his recent runs, but Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes.
His portrayal of the Falcon.
Vulture. Yeah.
Vulture, not the Falcon. Tell them I'm thinking. That made it for me because, and again, this would be another argument for another video. I was really against them doing a whole other reboot again of the Spider-Man character. Right. Having already done it, I was not that thrilled about it. But he made that movie for me.
Yeah. Him
being that villain, he was awesome. He knocked it out of the park, and that's what made me a fan of the film.
And it should be on my list. It's not.
Shame on you, Mr. Marvel guy.
Yeah, I loved him as he's the only one. I guess there could be others, but he's the only one who could do justice to the Vulture. Because to be honest with you, I rank him as like a grade C- villain. I couldn't stand the Vulture. He was just a guy in a bird outfit.
Well, he knocked it out of the park, man.
He did.
He elevated the character.
And what the writing, the way they wrote the character was fascinating too, because he lost everything. Again,
yeah.
To Tony Stark. Stark did a lot of damage.
Especially where it takes place right after the Avengers.
Yes,
2012.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's why.
Okay, so that's your
8.
8.
It's your number 7.
So my number 7 is going to be one a little more serious, Clean and Sober.
I haven't seen that one. I need to see it.
Yeah, Clean and Sober, man. Basically about a guy who he's hiding, wakes up in bed with a girlfriend who's died of an overdose, and they're coming after him. They think they're going to charge him and this and that, with the murder possibly. So he hides out at a rehab place run by Morgan Freeman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and there's a few other guys in it. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think Dennis Hopper's in it too. I don't recall. But essentially, he goes in there, and Morgan Freeman figures out he goes in there just trying to evade the cops. Well, come to find out, and through the course of the film, you find out that he's an addict.
Yeah.
Heck of a film, man. Heck of a film.
I need to see it.
Yeah. Clean and Sober.
Cool. My number 7 is The Founder.
Okay, yeah.
Where he plays the guy, the McDonald's co-founder or whatever. And it's great. He does a phenomenal job in it. At first, you feel for the guy, and then he kind of flips it on you, and he turns into a little bit of a jerk, and you don't really like him.
Yeah.
He does them both really well. And I've looked a little into that. They did dramatize it a little much. The owner wasn't, or the guy that he portrayed wasn't that much of a sleazeball. They dramatized it a little bit. But again, just phenomenal acting. And interesting to see how that McDonald's franchise has become what it is today, which is its own empire.
Yes. Yeah.
So I loved it, and I loved him in it.
Now, I haven't seen it. That's another one I have. There's a lot of his more recent stuff that I haven't seen. I shout out real quick. I want to give a shout out to a movie called Desperate Measures.
Haven't seen that either.
With Andy Garcia. It's just sort of a standard action thriller affair, late 90s. And I guess it was an attempt to maybe make Michael Keaton a action staple, sort of like Bruce Willis. Didn't sort of, it didn't succeed in that regard, but it's a pretty good thriller. So my number 6, is the iconic Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's way up on my list.
Yeah.
How is it not higher? Shame on
Beetlejuice.
You. Beetlejuice is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I love Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice was great. I enjoyed the heck of it. I remember seeing it as a kid. You just a guy like Michael Keaton who can embody a character like that, and of course there's a lot of comedy involved, not just vocal but physical too. So it's not straying far from his original.
No, and you can improv.
He was a comedic
Plus,
actor.
it's Tim Burton, so it's going to be a little weird.
And you had a great cast involved.
Yeah.
You had Alec Baldwin. You had Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
from
Home
Home
Alone.
Alone and whatnot. And
Jeffrey Jones.
yeah, sorry, that's terrible. So you got Jeffrey Jones and Winona Ryder, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Winona Ryder.
You're forgetting Glenn Davis.
Uh,
Or Gina Davis.
Gina Davis, Baldwin's wife in the film. Yeah, back when she still had a career.
She's still got a career. I think, again, it's more chosen that she...
Oh, I thought it was Cutthroat Island.
No. You're hard on these people.
Sorry.
Ah.
But yeah, do you ever watch a cartoon?
Yeah, I was one of those guys. I didn't like it because it wasn't Michael Keaton voicing him, but
Yeah.
I did watch it. I liked
It was bizarre, man.
It was definitely out there.
That's
way
why I
more,
liked
it. was way more out there than the film.
It was, yeah.
Jeez.
The sandworms, dude.
Yeah, those were weird.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
that was Beetlejuice.
Number 6.
Yeah.
You've been giving shout outs. I want to give another shout out to one that I think flew way under the radar. It's called Quicksand. It was him and Michael Caine back in like 03.
Mm-hmm.
Low budget, straight to video, which now they say stream, but straight to video. But it was great. I've only seen it once, but I still remember it, and I really liked it.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen that either. That's
But
another
yeah, that's
one.
good.
Yeah,
My number 6 is probably one of his earlier breakout films, Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom.
you gotta have Mr. Mom.
Oh, I love Mr. Mom, man. That is great. It's just great.
Ellie Sheedy? Ellie? No, not Ellie Sheedy.
It was Terry, I forget her.
Terry Garr.
Yeah, that's
Terry
it,
Garr.
Terry Garr.
And who was the boss? Who was the boss that was...
Oh, man, I
vying
don't know.
for-
Yeah, but Christopher Lloyd was in it, again.
Yeah.
Was one of his friends.
Yeah, I remember that.
It did. There's a couple of hidden gems in there. I couldn't name them, but yeah, Mr. Mom was just great, clean, fun, especially back in the 80s where, it was a little different back then. The men went to work while the women stayed home.
Yeah.
It was very odd for it to be reversed, which is obviously more common now, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it was a great portrayal of that, where guy, he's the one that's supposed to go to work. Well, he loses his job. His wife finds a job. He's got to stay home now. It's great. I love it. Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Mom's awesome.
I love Mr. Mom.
So that was your number...
Yep. Top 5.
Top 5. So I'm going to get...
It better be good.
Number 5 for me is going to be Mr. Mom.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not
So
bad.
that's a nice segue.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Love Mr. Mom. You said pretty much everything I could say. But what's that joke? 2030, 2040, whatever it takes.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to rip these walls out. And you're going to make them 220s. Yeah, 220, 230, whatever it takes. Yeah. I love where the Rocky theme, and because he's finally embracing the stay at home, and he's going to knock it out of the park. Because a few scenes earlier, he's like, what does he say to his wife? He's like, my brain is like oatmeal. I yell at, I forget his kid's name, for coloring outside the lines. And my daughter and I are watching the same TV shows, and I'm liking them.
Doesn't he attack the washing machine?
No, it's the vacuum cleaner.
The vacuum.
They call it Jaws.
Yeah, that's right.
But, and then there's this whole scene, like one of the neighbors, it's portrayed that she wants to sleep with him. And he has a dream like he's in a soap opera.
Yeah.
And he dies or whatever, and he wakes up, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, I got to turn this around. And now he's Mr. Mom. So, yeah. No, it's great. I love that film. So
Mr. Mom.
My number 5... gosh, it's already been 7 years since this thing came out? The Birdman.
Oh gosh. Man.
This was an independent film, I think.
Yeah.
I think we had to go to a special theater to watch it. It's definitely shot different. It's shot in a way to where it looks like there's never a cut.
It's a one continuous
shot. Now you notice obviously when it points up to the sky,
yeah,
and then it cuts later. Obviously that's a cut, but there is a lot of scenes where it's just dialogue.
Yeah.
And you got Edward Norton in there. You got Zach Galifianakis is in it.
Yeah, Emma Stone.
And there was some kind of joke between Norton, because Norton and Keaton got along really well.
Right.
And they wanted to keep tabs of who messed up the most. And you would think Zach Galifianakis would mess up because he's a comedian. He had the least amount of mess ups. Emma Stone had the most. But no, it blew me away. I've only seen it once, and it was kind of a parody towards his career with Batman.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what made it even more cool. But I loved it. It had comedy in it, had drama. Like one of the funniest scenes, and they actually shot this of him running through Times Square in his underwear. And I think at one point somebody goes, "Man, you're old." I don't think he liked that too much because he said "F you." But no, it's great. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out.
It's on my list. It's a little bit higher, but it is definitely on my list.
All right.
So my number 4, I'm going to go with one that I tried to get you to watch more times than I could count.
The Company.
It's called The Company.
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't watch it. Maybe it's because it was so long.
Now, see, The Company, it's another one of those things where we talk about Bugs Life and Ants or Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. It came out the same year. Now, granted, it was a television miniseries, but it came out at the same year around the same time as
Good Shepherd.
The Good Shepherd
Yeah,
did.
you told me this 1,000 times, and I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, it was eclipsed by that. However, here's the thing about it, and it tells the story of the formation of the modern day CIA from the OSS. And because by virtue of it being a miniseries, it can take liberties and take longer to draw the story out. I love the story. Okay, I love it just like I love The Good Shepherd, man. Espionage, spy. Is it hindered a little bit by production values as opposed to a film? Sure. But I'll say this. Michael Keaton, he does something that, up until that point anyway, I never seen him do, which is just almost become like I wouldn't say a method, but totally immerse himself in something.
Gotcha.
Almost like Beetlejuice, not since before Beetlejuice.
Gotcha.
You got Chris O'Donnell, which I'm not a big fan of, but
Don't
Alfred
knock on O'Donnell.
Molina's in it. Alfred Molina, Dr. Octopus, that guy's great, man. He's
So
awesome.
they're all three good.
Yeah, whatever.
Get the hell out of here.
So it's a heck of a film, and you got to watch it because Keaton is just, he's great.
I will eventually get to it, maybe. But
So-
my number 4, you brought up earlier, is Gung Ho.
okay.
I love Gung Ho. I remember watching it with my dad. He loved the film. One of the funniest parts that he would always laugh at is they're trying to make all these cars at the end of the movie, and somebody actually busts out the windshield or the rearview mirror. And when the boss is showing Michael Keaton, like he's trying to wipe it off. The guy walks right up and put his hand through it, and he's like, "What? Just great comedy, great comedy." I love Gung Ho.
Yeah.
If you have not seen Gung Ho, like if you're a fan of Beetlejuice and some of his other comedies,
Mr. Mom,
Mr. Mom,
Right.
you got to see Gung Ho.
Yeah. It's one that I need to revisit. So that's your number
4.
It's your number 4.
Top 3.
Top 3.
Better be good.
Got to be Birdman for me.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because up until that point, I said I loved all of Keaton's stuff, or most of his stuff anyway. But going into Birdman, I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, dude, this is... And Keaton had been out of it for a little bit by that point. He had done a little bit.
Yeah.
But this was, I'm thinking, like you said, it was almost like not a parody of, but it was a commentary on his career as Batman. And then it was almost like an insider, like a Hollywood theater inside type deal, because it was the inside of making a play,
Yeah.
a theater play. And watching, there was just so many layers to it. And it's something that I'll never forget. I love the Birdman. I thought Keaton was... I walked out of it thinking, wow, this guy just takes it. When you think he can't surprise you anymore, he takes it to the next level.
Definitely.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was, and quick shout out to I'm not a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, but I do want to say this.
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown didn't have a big part.
Good,
He played a
good shout out. Yeah.
He played a detective in that, and did a great job. And I think he reprised it in Out of Sight.
I think you're right.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. My number 3 is Multiplicity.
Multiplicity.
I love Multiplicity.
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of my favorite comedies of all time. And it's one of the first times an actor actually had to play multiple characters.
This is true. Yeah.
This is before The Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
All due respect to Eddie Murphy, who knocked it out of the park himself.
Right.
This was the first, and Harold Ramis directed it. You know, I just found that out not too long ago. I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, Harold Ramis, man, that's
The great Harold Ramis. We have to do his catalog.
Yep.
But no, I love Multiplicity. It's just great comedy. You know, basically it's a guy who works himself to death and he feels stretched thin, and there's a doctor who says, I can help you with that. So he clones him.
Yeah.
It's just great. He ends up cloning himself once and another time. It's just so funny. Especially, you got a guy, he's playing all these characters, and to play them differently.
Yes. Yeah.
And to keep that tone in all three characters through the whole film, it's just phenomenal. He's just, yeah, I love.
It's not on my list, but it does.
Shame on you.
It does hold a special place for me in my heart because it was, near as I can remember, it was one of the final films my mom and I saw together before she passed away in Greenville, the Greenville Theater.
Oh, the good old Greenville Theater. Yeah, like everybody knows that.
And it was, and that's what I remember about it, was going to see that with my mom. So, yeah, multiplicity.
I love it.
Annie McDowell, well, I always loved, loved Annie McDowell. She was always good. She was good in Hudson Hawk.
Sure. That's another list.
That's another list.
You're number 2.
Number 2, Batman Returns.
Oh, okay. See, I combined the two of them. But
all right. Whatever.
I got you. No, I love them both. I couldn't say enough about it.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be a sequel if you ask Tim Burton this.
Yeah.
But it is a sequel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Its characters are better, but I love it.
Up until that point, who personified Batman? It was Adam West. We all know this.
The great Adam West.
But we know that for our generation, I was 8 years old. I remember going to the theater, Fort City 14, in Chicago, where I lived, and waiting in line. And man, you had the merchandise everywhere. You had the posters, you had the merchandise, the cups, the refill.
That was like one of the first times like McDonald's got involved.
Big time, man. It was everywhere, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Just a great feeling. I loved Keaton in this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. My number 2 is Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Obviously, that's the other one of his iconic characters. You cannot even start a list if it's not in your top 5, not in your top 3. It's Beetlejuice, man. I know they're talking about doing a sequel, which I think is a big mistake.
I think
that's
so.
Another argument. But the original one, just great comedy, great story. It's a little out there too.
Yeah.
So it had everything.
Well, yeah, it was a Tim Burton movie. It was back when Tim Burton was at his apex, was at his prime.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beetlejuice was great, man. And you combine that with Keaton, obviously you get a home run, which leads into my next. Well, and what I was speaking of, there was, and I'm sorry I should have made that distinction, was what I was speaking about going to see Batman. It was the original. My number 1 favorite was Batman '89, and that's what I remember was, obviously we know that Nicholson almost.
He was the star.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But between those two, it sort of redefined for our generation Batman and whatnot. And Keaton became,
he became a household name after that.
Yeah. And you could say what you want about the liberties they took. Jack Napier
never killed Batman's
Joe
parents.
Chill, this and that. Whatever.
Alfred bringing Vicky Vale into the Batcave.
Yeah,
which is funny because they bring it up in the second one.
Yeah,
it's a funny little line because he says something. Who brought Vicky Vale into the Batcave? You see Alfred like crap. Because there are people that are so upset about that. They were like, Alfred would have been fired on the spot. And it was like, you got to speed things up. It's,
Well, speaking of the support case, you had Michael go. You had Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon.
Even though he's not really a good Commissioner Gordon. Now, the actor I respect,
yes,
did as good as he was supposed to. But Commissioner Gordon is
Yeah, well, they had cast someone who's a little bit older in age at the time.
And a little bit stockier, too.
Yeah, so, but, yeah. In the first one, you had Nicholson. Second one, Kim Basinger.
Second one, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Danny DeVito.
Yes.
Walken.
Even though Max Shrek.
And all of it fine-tuned and put together by one of the great directors of that time, Tim Burton, who added a very unique stamp on anything he did.
It was nice, though.
But yeah, Michael Keaton, man, you think of him, to this day, you think of Michael, you think of the Vulture, you think of Birdman, but who do you think of? Batman.
This segues into my number 1. It's Batman 1 and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
No, not Batman and Robin.
Not that one.
Batman for Batman 2. Batman Returns. Yes, that was it for me. I mean, I love the Adam West portrayal, even though it was kind of slapstick comedy. Yeah. But it was kind of, you got to see all the characters, and Adam West, besides not really being muscular, he had the physical.
He did.
And he was a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Great
looking Bruce Wayne. And then you go to this, and this, especially when, and I know I was only like 6, 7 years old, But when you start reading the comic books and you feel the tone of the comic books,
Right.
it's way off from 66. This was way more closer to the tone. Yes.
Yes.
Was it right? No, it wasn't right as far as the source, but you had live action Batman, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Michael Keaton, to me, knocked it out of the park.
Right, as Batman and as Bruce Wayne, I forgot to mention, he was a more cerebral Bruce Wayne. You could see him just contemplatively sitting in the dark,
Yes.
thinking, and that's what Bruce Wayne was.
The open up Batman Returns, you have the Penguin's crew, they're terrorizing the city.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon, what are you waiting for? Give the signal. They give the signal, and he's just sitting there waiting, waiting for the signal.
Yeah.
That's what he's waiting on. And just Michael Keaton. And when I think of Batman, and he was my top Batman on our very first video on this channel, he was my top Batman because I just thought he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, and with Keaton, we hope and we know that he'll continue to make great films in the future.
Well, he's supposed to reprise Bruce Wayne in this Flash.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, we might have to do a follow-up.
Yeah, and there was maybe even possibly coming back as the Vulture.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
A lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
Maybe a Multiplicity 2?
Yeah, maybe.
Beetlejuice 2?
Jeffrey Jones.
I don't know about that. I don't know once, that's enough.
Well, that's enough.
Omit that.
Okay, we'll
But
cut that out.
top 10, Michael Keaton. There you go. See you another one.